The UK's top priority in a free trade agreement with Japan is not increasing exports, but protecting Japan's investments in the UK, a consultant specialising in Japanese businesses has claimed. The UK and Japan hope to agree the details of a post-Brexit trade agreement by the end of the month. The two parties said they had made progress during 2 days of face-to-face talks in London earlier this month. Japanese Foreign Minister Toshimitsu Motegi said there was substantial agreement in most areas. And his UK counterpart Liz Truss said there was a consensus on extending Japan's current trade standards with the EU in financial and digital services. As the talks are about to reach their final phase, in a recent report for her blog, Pernilla Rudlin, a consultant specialising in Japanese business, warned that Britain should focus on protecting Japan's investments in the UK, rather than increasing exports in the trade deal. Ms. Rudlin explained how Brexit has been seen as a risk from around 2013 onwards, and this is reflected in the number of Japanese companies and nationals in the UK falling by 11% and 7% respectively over 2012 to 2018, the only country in Europe to show such significant decreases. Germany already hosts more Japanese companies than the UK and is catching up in terms of hosting Japanese nationals too. The expert argued that the trends in current Japanese trade and investment in Europe and the UK need to then be examined for their impact in 3 areas, where Japan has influence over the UK economy. She wrote, "The Japanese automotive sector is a key source of existing jobs for the UK as it accounts for around a quarter of the 163,000 people I estimate are employed in the UK by Japanese companies." There was a 3% decline from 2017 eighths to 2018 ninths in employment in the Japanese automotive sector in the UK, however, whereas employment in Japanese automotive companies grew elsewhere in Europe, particularly in Eastern Europe. So while zero tariffs on automotive parts from Japan to the UK will help, this might just be trying to hold back the tide. The possibility of tariffs on exports of cars made in the UK to the EU is obviously a concern for Japanese companies too. Maybe sterling will fall far enough or there will be sufficient government subsidies to mitigate this extra cost, but ultimately Japanese companies will choose to manufacture where they can access not just the lowest costs but also a market sufficiently large to ensure full production capacity.